In today's video, I want to walk you guys through what I actually don't like about Investor Carrot. I was looking for some reviews to see if other people had kind of the same problems that I've had, and noticed that most of the people reviewing Investor Carrot are also trying to get you to use their affiliate link. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. I do have a video we did exposing kind of how that works that I'll link to above, but I want to give you a real unbiased review of if you should be using Investor Carrot in 2021 and what potential issues or drawbacks there are to this real estate investing software. Let's dive right in. So I'm going to do a different video on what I like, but it's kind of the same stuff you're going to see everywhere else, like ease of use, quality, all of that. This is more of like the what I don't like. Now, I don't want you to think that I'm somebody who's like tried this service for 3 months and been like, oh, that didn't work and cancel it. I'm actually going to throw up on the screen here. I've been paying for Investor Carrot since October of 2015. So I am a 5-year Investor Carrot, on Carrot, Carrot. I've kind of been with them through the brand changes, veteran user of the software. And there's several pitfalls I've discovered that I'm not a huge fan of. Be sure to stick around to the end because there's one thing you really need to know before you spend a whole bunch of time customizing and building your website on the Carrot platform. So to show you what I mean about kind of some of these other reviews, I'm just gonna blast through a couple real quick so you can see what I'm talking about. This way you can also kind of discern for yourself when somebody's posting a review if they might have ulterior motives behind it. So if you search Investor Carrot reviews on YouTube, I'm just gonna hit these top 3, but if you'll notice this one right here, Investor Carrot review free trial is right there in the description, as well as try out Carrot with this 30-day link and a link to click for it. I don't think there's anything wrong with affiliate marketing, but I think one of the downsides to it is a lot of the times the reviews just kind of highlight what they like and don't point out the cons because they want you to, well, use their link, right? So on this one, it's buried a little bit deeper here, but we can see try the Investor Carrot risk-free trial right there. You click it. A good way to be able to tell if what you've clicked is an affiliate link or not is the URL at the top up there. A lot of the times it'll also have like some sort of a cookie ID or something. Third one here, and you're gonna see kind of the same thing where, hey, use my link for this free trial. And you can see that cookie ID that we mentioned to be able to tell that, hey, this is indeed an affiliate link. All right. So now that we've got that out of the way, let me walk you through what I don't like about Carrot sites. The first thing foremost that I've personally seen in my own business is the sites tend to read like you're trying to market to somebody who's just like flat out desperate. This is just a couple random Carrot sites that I pulled. If you want to see what Carrot sites look like, if you actually just Google powered by Carrot, their text here at the bottom, you can find all kinds of examples. But it's lines like this that I'm not a huge fan of. Stop the frustration of your unwanted property. I've bought a lot of houses. I've done a lot of deals. I've had something like 2,000 leads come through my Carrot site at this point. And it's very, very rare that I'm dealing with people that are like, oh, Ryan, please just take this property from me. A lot of the times it's like, yeah, I just want to see where you'd be at, job change, or I don't want to deal with the MLS or something like that. So I think the stock verbiage is a little bit desperate-y sounding when a lot of the sellers that I work with are people that are affluent and they're looking just to kind of like hit the easy button and be done with the property. The second thing that I'm not a huge fan of, because these are template sites, is that they can look the same as other people's sites. Like if you look between these two that I have pulled up, they both kind of have this black box with the red arrow drawn over. A lot of them even have the same background and the same like stock images. So you definitely want to make sure you have yours stand out. Try to use a background image that matches kind of what's in your market. But I think more the issue with some of the template sites and kind of more one of my pet peeves is their autoresponders. So when somebody fills out a form on your website, there's like a default message that Carrot automatically triggers. that I will pull up and show you on screen here. This is the autoresponder that they automatically send out when somebody fills out a form on your website. It's a little bit like that like dumb used car tactic of like, oh, my manager passed your file over to my desk. Like, no, he didn't. You just want me to come trade my car in, right? My assistant just forwarded me the information you submitted on our site a few minutes ago. I wanted to reach out to talk to you about the property. So here's the problem. A, I don't really love this particular copy, but B, there's something like 5,000 plus Carrot users around the country. It's very likely that the top couple guys in your market might be Carrot clients. You can imagine that gets a little bit awkward, a little bit confusing if somebody requests cash offers from a couple companies and then are getting the same auto email from all these different companies. It's kind of like, what's going on here? So yes, it's a template site. Our first point was that the copy reads a little bit like desperate. You want to tweak the copy. You want to rewrite it in your own voice so it sounds like you, so it sounds like your market. Same thing with the autoresponder. Like this is never something that I would personally choose to send to a seller. So you want to go through and read it and make that decision for yourself, but make sure you don't get stuck in like the templatiness of it. If you're familiar with website design at all, it's pretty obvious to see that Carrot is just kind of like a ratcheted down WordPress that doesn't give you as much freedom or flexibility. Now, there are some pros with it. They've kind of got a lot of stuff figured out for investors, but there's also some cons with it. If you're like me and you kind of like to tinker and try things, there's some tools like something called heat maps that'll show you where people are clicking around. Or I personally didn't like Carrot's like default reviews and testimonial structure. And I wanted to install a better review plugin that's a WordPress plugin that I use in other companies. And Carrot told me no, that the theme is locked down and they don't allow outside plugins. So it is WordPress, but you don't necessarily have all of the functionality of a typical WordPress site. Now, I got a little frustrated with Carrot and their support staff on these next 2 points. The first one is that your site can start to run a little bit slow. You want to periodically go and visit your own website and see how long it takes for things to load. We had a point back like tail end of last year where it was taking upwards of 6 or 7 seconds for my site to even pop up. That was with hardwired gigabyte fiber internet. And we tested it in multiple markets and we're having these really, really long load times. What it ultimately ended up being, or kind of what we were told, was that the images needed to be compressed on our site. Like the files we'd uploaded were too large and they had to like squish them down so it didn't have to load as much. But that was super, super frustrating. The only reason we caught it, we were looking at our analytics account in Google and noticed that like our amount of users had dramatically dropped, as well as our bounce rate had skyrocketed, where people were clicking on the site, nothing was happening, so they were just going to leave. I shudder to think about the amount of deals and potential money that one thing cost us. The important thing to keep in mind, anytime you're using any service, like I mentioned earlier, Carrot's got upwards of 5,000 clients. If you think they're laying eyes on your site every month, you're probably totally kidding yourself. Maybe they do, but that would be news to me. Nobody's going to care about your company, your results, or your brand as much as yourself. So as a business owner, I take the responsibility for not having looked into and caught this sooner. But it is one of those things that you want to be aware of, that we have had times where the site has started to run slow and we've had to hit up chat support and be like, hey, what's going on here? So I mentioned one of my gripes was kind of like the template-y feel to things, but Carrot offers a solution for that. So in their marketplace, there's all kinds of things you can buy. Like if you're like me and you kind of want to hit the easy button, have some stuff done for you. I got tired of the like template-y look. On top of that, I was rocking a design from back in like 2015. That's not even a theme they offer or run anymore. So I was like, hey, can you guys like build me something that doesn't look like other Carrot sites, but still works really well? So they have that option. I believe it's this like concierge setup. I believe that's the one. I'm not gonna quote I will. I believe it's like $3,000. I spent like $2,000 or $2,500 to have my entire site redesigned to something that matched my brand, my personality, and didn't really look like every other Carrot site. Kind of fixing that like they look like all other sites thing. Here's my big gripe with that and with Carrot. I'm sure there's some like terms of conditions box or something that I checked or agreed to somewhere, but it was about this same time that we were having those slowdown issues with our site where it was taking 6 or 7 seconds to load. And I wanted to move the website that I had paid $2,500, $3,000 for off of Carrot and onto my own hosting because theirs was just running too slow. As a business owner, I can't wait 6 or 7 seconds for a site to load. And support was helpful, but I was very firm of like, this needs to get fixed. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, heavens. It was like, oh, this looks fine on our end if we're using this tool or that tool, which, you know, maybe that support agent was just having an off day or something. But what they ultimately ended up telling me was, I don't own my design or my website. I lease it. Now, this was not something that was communicated very clearly to me of like, hey, you're going to pay us $2,500 for this custom website. I mean, that would be like buying a house that you're really leasing, but you think you bought it. It was kind of this weird, like, what do you mean I don't own something that I paid $2,500, $3,000 for? So it's really important to be aware of if you're going to spend a ton of time investing in or changing or tweaking your site or even paying them for like a custom design. You don't own it. It's just a lease. Now, I'm personally still on Carrot. I've been using their site for years now. I've had something like 1,900, 2,000 leads come through the site. I've got the #1 ranking like We Buy Houses website in multiple places in my market. So none of these were like deal breakers for me, but they're kind of things that I wish I'd known about like back when I started in 2015 that would have potentially prevented some frustration or kind of some heated back and forth conversations. One of the complaints I often see with Carrot is like, oh, I set up the website and I didn't get any leads. Guys, that's not how websites work. So if you're thinking you're going to set up a Carrot website and leads are just going to magically fall in your lap, you're kidding yourself. It's a website. You have to drive traffic to it. We print our Carrot site on every piece of direct mail we send. We run Facebook ads, we run pay-per-click ads, we run YouTube ads. So yes, I've had 2,000 leads come through my site, but we have sent that traffic there. Even if you're not doing paid traffic, even if it's just strictly like SEO, that's still work and effort you have to put into a Carrot site. It's not gonna just like magically perform for you. Unlike the other reviews that only highlight the positives, these are some of the negatives and quite frankly, some of the things I hate about our Carrot site. Hopefully you've found this insightful and helpful. Be sure to like and subscribe if you'd appreciate seeing more content like this. Talk to you guys next time.